Hello, everybody. Really clapping? He's still going. Hello, everybody. Yes. Welcome to the Bad Rating Podcast. I am Atlas Novak, and with me I also have...
Chris Hetlinger.
Chris Hetlinger, my new possible co-host.
Hello.
As Nick has moved to Reno, Nevada.
It's a pleasure to
meet you. Your new possible co-host?
Well, I mean, if she decides she doesn't want to stay in the future.
I'm happy. If provided that the obstacles to getting here don't continue on, I can't see any other.
Now, Chris, do you have commitment issues?
Only if it involves Uber drivers who will only drive 65 miles an hour on the freeway the entire way.
Okay.
That is infuriatingly law abiding.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
Like everyone was
speed
going
limit
around
says 65. I go 65.
Right. But it's that thing like no one can really say nothing about because we should all be.
We all should be.
Right. But I'm going like 85 right now.
Yeah.
And everyone around us was like going around the big SUV that he was driving. I was like, you're in an SUV. You could plow through all of these like little tiny Priuses and everything that are going around you.
Also here with us is our guest today. We didn't get to introduce you yet.
Oh, yes. Jonas Presendieu.
I've been saying Presendieu the entire time.
That's great. I accept that too.
You accept that?
I accept that too.
Either Presendieu or Presendieu.
Yes, I accept that.
Your choice.
Yes.
Very French.
Jonas. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Present and or Presendieu.
Yeah. We have a Frenchman and a German here then.
Yeah.
Whoa. Wait, who's the German? Whoa. I was thinking like Native American or something.
I'm half Native American, but from Peru, so South Native American, and then half German. / apparently, according to DNA test, also British and Irish.
So you're the Peru.
Sun never sets in the British Empire.
So you're one of the Peru Native Americans, not the casino ones.
That's right.
Okay.
The ones who had the empire that was taken down by Francisco Pizarro.
Oh my God! She like.
Wait, were those the original Aztecs?
They were not Aztecs. They were Incans.
Incans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were the ones with the little hairless dogs that they used as like bed warmers. They were like, these are magical dogs because they make people feel better without realizing that they were just literally like hot packs.
Yeah. Incas were brutal.
Yeah.
They were hardcore.
Hardcore, man. Like even the games, like it was horrible, like rolling heads and stuff. I'm like, whoa, they went hard, man.
But they frowned upon the eating of dogs. So
good.
Well, I mean, we do too. So I mean, yeah, we relate.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So here on the Bad Reading Podcast, we like to ask our guest, what are you into?
Mm-hmm. In what sense?
One of these days, somebody's going to go, what am I into? Oh, bondage and...
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right, but here's
oh, really, miss, invite me to a sex cave for karaoke.
Here's the thing about that question.
You didn't ask.
Here's the thing about that question. It directly goes to like the dark side of your brain.
Right.
Like it pierces everything and goes just straight to the dark side. And it's just like, maybe you didn't mean that. Maybe you're talking about video games, but I'm just thinking about like my deepest sexual curiosities. I should have.
Yeah. No, I should probably word it differently instead
of
going like, what are you into? And
I'm like, is this kind of podcast?
Voice,
is this all right?
No.
I mean, I'm still for it. I'm into it. So
book, movie, TV show. We were talking about it before we started recording, which is
Scarface.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Scarface, which has a surprising amount of like stories to find. I didn't think I was going to find that many.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could have.
They're everywhere.
So many.
There's so many.
Where did you find them?
Well, this particular one we found on fanfiction.net.
Okay.
By the Optimistic Nihilist, and it's called "How Tony Saved Christmas."
Okay.
Okay. So
a work of art.
Yeah, Chris and I are gonna take turns reading this thing back and forth. The other two people who are not reading are encouraged to interrupt with their jokes, stories, nitpicks as they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
So we found this on fanfiction.net. We'll put the link to it in the show notes for you to find, to give the artist credit. And if you want to read it for yourself. So the tagline is, Tony gets brought back to life after the shooting and deals snow with jolly old Saint Nick.
I can't.
What?
November 1983, the North Pole. The snow epidemic in the North Pole was finally reaching full circle. Enough elves had died from the lack of snow during the winter, and it was all thanks to the aerosol-consuming populace of Miami, Florida. The elves, who were sensitive to heat, were met with extreme conditions of global warming on the winter of 1983.
Wait a second. Was global warming like a serious issue, as serious it is now in 1983? I mean, I know it's been going on for a long time, but
I don't know, man. There was a lot of good drugs in the 80s. I don't think they were thinking about that.
Probably not.
A lot of, I mean, LSD was just coming out. Like, it was some real good stuff coming out. I don't think they were thinking about that.
I knew Exxon, I know Exxon knew about like the effects of man-made climate change in the 70s and didn't tell anyone.
right.
So
I mean, you had the hippies. I mean, you had the hippies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they knew about it.
Yeah, they were. That was their
And
message.
that's the 1960s, so they knew about it for quite a
Yeah,
while
that's
then.
even earlier than that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. The 60s. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they knew.
All right.
Okay. We're met with extreme conditions of global warming on the winter of 1983, causing them great bodily harm, rendering them unable to ship off toys to potential users, children, around the globe. There's like that one guy who wants like the Star Wars playset who's like, yeah, I'm totally a children.
Please, Santa, I need this.
'Twas a bad time for the North Pole, especially for Santa Claus, whose present shipping syndicate had been badly hit by this global warming situation, their profits the lowest since time began. However, Santa did not give up.
Oh, there's more.
There's always more.
So the profits being what, the cookies and milk that he's selling
Yeah.
secondhand to make some profits?
Right.
Yeah, like they never
Yeah.
really talked about the business side of Christmas.
Yeah. What is the currency? There has to be something.
It's
running.
cookies and milk. It has to be.
Yeah, but I mean, what keeps the elves going? You know, like what
Mhm.
keeps them coming back?
I think
Christmas cheer?
low-key slave labor.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then where do heat and snow miser factor into this? Are they part of the equation, or is that just for the weather?
No, I think those elves are working back a debt they are owed for getting into.
Oh, so they're indentured servants.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay,
Yes.
so they're not slaves.
Yes, but
Okay.
it's a debt they will never fill.
Okay.
This got dark real fast. Like,
You know, so I don't. Yeah. So no, I don't. There's something keeping those elves there. We got to look into that.
All right.
We
Yeah.
got to look into that.
Santa did not give up. He needed snow for his elves to keep the business running.
Or maybe are all of these elves addicted to the snow? Is that how he's keeping them working? You know, like a sugar daddy pimp?
Possibly, man. But I don't know. I don't think the snow would cut it. I don't think the snow would cut it for the elves because he has to make it stronger every time.
That's true.
You understand?
Well, maybe that's why global warming is cutting into it so much, because there's less snow and it's making it less potent instead of more potent.
Right. Here's the thing. He has to get it through Mexico. And he has to get it through Mexico, and it's getting harder and harder as the water levels rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it does increase the cost of labor.
I feel like
Yeah.
if snow is their, drug of choice, like actual snow, not cocaine, I feel like the equator would be a big problem.
In
No?
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
words came around that Tony, oh God, Cara Ticatris? Cara Ticatris?
Just call him Tony Montana.
I'm just going to say Tony Montana, the king of coke of Miami, had just been assassinated by the Bolivians. Santa saw this as an opportunity and wanted his body to be claimed back from the mansion from where he was brutally slain in by a shotgun blast to the back. Santa needed his expertise in the snow, for his business shall not perish before Christmas. He needed to bring him back to life.
So Santa is, on top of everything else, a necromancer.
Yes.
All right.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
that's some that's some D&D shit right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Who would have known?
Yeah.
Who would have known?
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by that time, the cocaine 80s.
Why?
And just the business aspect of it, just the amount of money that was being made.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm watching Narcos right now. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys know this show, but I'm watching Narcos right now. And by the way, it's on Netflix. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And people of the staff have actually died, like, filming this stuff.
Oh, really?
The gangs have actually killed people in the staff.
Oh my god.
And it's totally, like, legitimate. They've blurred out the names in the latest season because the families of those people still exist. And, like, people get murdered over this show.
That's crazy.
And it's so good. But, yeah, I'm just fascinated, like, just how they did it, how innovative these drug dealers were. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
just... The one thing that's always confused me is, like, why can't this be a peaceful business? Like, why can't everyone just take their piece of the pie and just go home? It's a lot of money.
Because, and I'm quoting Wall Street here, greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Yeah.
No, it's the whole 80s in general was just no regulations, wheels come off.
Nothing, man.
You know?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Our parents definitely got into some stuff they never tell us.
Oh, my dad told me everything.
Nice. Good for you. Good for you. Yes.
My mom made it sound like she didn't really take part in the 80s the way like most other people did, where she was like, I wasn't really about that life, because she would have been in her 30s
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s, so it would have been like, you know,
That's still pretty young, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's still pretty young.
Yeah, that's still very young.
And she didn't have my sister and I until the 90s, so
Mhm.
there's like a nice 10-year period in there where she could have just been going ham. And she says she hasn't, but I'm still like, one of these days I need to sit down with both of my parents and get their life stories just for history's sake, because they lived through a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Was your mom, was she hot?
I'm not gonna answer that.
I mean, I can answer your question right now. I think that's the missing link here. Because I feel like you told.
You've met my mom. Is she hot?
I saw her from across a room. By her silhouette, yes.
Sure,
That's
fine.
that's as much.
There's
as
your answer.
Okay,
That-
okay.
Yeah,
Because I feel like you told us that story, but you know the answer too.
maybe she said that she was into disco long after it was popular, so I get the feeling no, she was not really taking part in the 80s.
Okay.
Okay.
And she was just like, God, I just want to do the hustle, you know. Okay, so there's a little line break. So
Yeah.
Chris, why don't you take over?
All
You wanna
right.
You can use my computer or your phone, your choice.
I'll use my phone.
All right,
Okay.
from Tony's mansion.
Tony's Mansion, Miami. Oh, great. I get the speaking parts, huh?
Nice.
This
nice.
looks like a body. Okay, wait. Who is this talking? Right. Okay, Sven. This looks like a body. Jesus, he looks fucked up, cried Sven, whose initially clean and fancy pastel suit had just got stained messily by Tony's blood, dragging the drug lord's limp body out of the fountain along with fellow elf and amigo Christian, who simply looked at Tony's blood-covered suit, adjusting his shades accordingly.
So
Hey.
so the elves wear shades.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. They're in Miami and they're elves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, you're in Miami.
Okay, there better be some kind of like weird pun, so we can get the yeah.
I
You know,
hope so.
they're in Miami.
Hey, it's blood in, blood out if you deal in Yayo. Though you should have known by now, replied the taller elf in a dark blue Hawaiian shirt. He's a dangerous man. And I don't know what the fuck Santa was thinking. All this trouble so that we can send gifts to fucking kids.
I thought this was for the holiday cheer.
I think we've established they're indentured servants. Hey, come on, Chris. You know we're facing troubled times. We do what we gotta do, replied Sven calmly before dropping the body on the floor and punching his amigo right in the face, causing him to stumble a bit. So shut the fuck up and help me with the body. Jesus. All right, relax, asshole. I'll lend a hand.
Okay, so is Jesus like, okay, Santa exists, elves exist. Does Jesus exist like as an entity?
In what sense?
Like, okay, so if Christmas is a thing and all of the figures associated with it, does that mean, does Jesus as a person, as a religious figure, does he like go chill at the North Pole sometimes? Has there ever been like a crossover between like Christianity proper and?
Not that I've heard of.
You know what, man? Those two things never mixed to me because I
Yeah.
just know so much about like the history of Christmas and what it's really about,
Yeah.
and the origin of it. So I can't even like imagine intertwining those two things. Like it's weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Easter Bunny is 100% a pagan feature.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. It's all Yeah, you're
Or
absolutely
according
right
to
about
South
that.
Park, he's Saint Peter.
The Easter Bunny?
Yeah, Peter Rabbit.
Oh,
Man, dude, that was a you reached with that reference, man. You reached.
It's South Park.
I think that's one of the older seasons, right?
It's like season 11 or something.
It's
season
pretty
12.
old, man. It's pretty old.
Oh right, that's like 2007 at this
Right.
point. Fuck.
Right. Dude, I love South Park so much. I think it's the most brilliantly like written show on TV in my opinion.
I feel so
As a
bad.
cartoon.
I feel so bad for them, like when the Trump stuff started happening, because you can tell that they didn't intend for him to win, and then they had to kind of adjust on the fly, and it like fucked up their rhythm.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
tell. You can tell like
Yeah.
in the latest like three seasons,
Mhm.
like you could tell like, oh wow, this really threw a wrench in what
Yeah.
you guys were trying to do. Like this actually happening.
They were covered beautifully. But
Yes.
just, fuck it.
So brilliant.
So
man.
unfortunate for
So
them. Yeah.
brilliant. Oh man.
I mean, that holds true for a lot of comedians and comedic works where they were not expecting
Mhm.
the outcome.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, because you're a writer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you feel like that kind of stuff affects writers too? Like imagine like sitting here taking this time out like for this whole packet or like this whole story, and then this thing happens.
I feel like as a DM, that's more of what happens, and you get to deal with it, because if you're a dungeon master and your party's like, hey, I'm gonna go over here and talk to this one NPC that you haven't fleshed out, and now I'm like, okay, I gotta make up a personality and I have to figure out a whole new plot right now.
Yes.
So it takes improvisational skills, but you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it, but it is a massive inconvenience.
It is. Although it's very entertaining if it's your group of people and they're all fun to work with, and just like, okay, well, let's throw that whole plot that I had written out the window and just make up a new one.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, all those people, they're like less than the 1% of the people you need to make happy.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, for sure, it's a massive inconvenience.
But it can be fun if you let the fun dip into your soul. You're like, okay, I have to find something new. I'm gonna take this as something that's fun to do rather than something that's just like terrible and so.
Man, you are.
That's probably easier for a DM than it is for like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who have to like write a whole new TV show and animate it and record
That's
the
true.
voices,
The work that I would have to do is a lot less.
Yeah.
All right. Where were we?
Oh yeah, we completely went off a rail here.
That's the point.
Okay.
That's the point of the podcast.
Oh, that's intentional.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I feel like I was just being rude this
No.
whole time.
No.
We were starting to run out of steam. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is welcomed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
all
so
right.
like
More than welcome.
the point of the show is when we start, like once our tangent runs out, you just go back to the story
Okay.
and then keep going, and then another one pops up
Okay. Like what?
behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a Russian doll or something.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
I really did like that show
Yeah.
a lot. All right. Carrying Tony's body towards the driveway, the two elves dump the dead man into the trunk of an 86 Crown Victoria. Walking to the sides of the car, the two elves got into the car, panting heavily from the rotting smell of Tony's body. Gross. Twisting the ignition, the car began to flash its headlights in the cold Miami night.
Okay, hang on. Cold Miami night?
Miami
I
does,
find that hard to believe.
Miami does get cold.
I know. I just.
I've never been to Miami, so I can't
Really?
say one way or another. Yeah.
My grandma
believe it.
used to live in Miami. I've been a bunch of times, but
I believe it.
Yeah.
Had some very cold nights in Miami.
Okay.
when did you live in Miami?
Well, I've been there. Never lived there.
Oh, okay.
I actually hate it.
Yeah, it's not that fun.
No, it's not.
Humid.
It's fun. The people there are great.
Yeah.
There are great. But man, just a lot of animals, man. A lot of gators just around. A lot of pythons just hanging around.
Isn't that where they have, or is that in Jacksonville, where they have the epidemic of like all of these iguanas everywhere?
That's Miami. That's
okay.
yes.
That's also Miami.
Yes, it's Miami. Yeah, and the government allows them people to do whatever they want to do with them. So some people eat them. Some people like
What?
yeah. Some people turn them into like shoes and stuff. Like it's really bad what they're doing to these iguanas.
Florida has like no like terrain difference. It's just flat as hell.
Yeah.
So everything kind of meets each other in Florida.
Yeah.
Which is not a good thing. And yeah, you get everything from like cocaine drug lords to like random, hillbilly yokels from that should be in Alabama. That
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
it's everything's together.
Yeah.
It's a soup of chaos.
Yes.
And that's where my dad's from.
Yeah. It totally. And don't forget the hurricanes. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
It's insane.
Apparently, when my dad was a kid, after the hurricane, it would still be super windy, but safe enough to go outside. They would go out in a wagon and they would like unravel a kite, and then you let the wind pull the kite, and thus you in the wagon down the street. So
Wow.
they're parasailing in the street. Miami.
Wow. No, it's definitely rough because I lived in Tampa when Hurricane Irma came. And
Oh,
we
shit.
stayed. And it was like that was really, really scary because like I don't know how to use power tools, but like we're learning. Like we have to board these windows.
Yeah.
Like, the scariest part of these kind of things is going into like a Walmart and seeing like no water. Like there's no, like people are crying. There's like no water.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice because Floridians disagree on so many things. But it was nice to know at that moment we knew we were going to die, so
Nothing brings people together
right.
like imminent death.
Right, it was close. Like, so yeah, it was insane. Like it was Confederate dudes just like hugging out like Puerto Ricans. Like it was very, very bonding of a moment.
I may be racist as fuck, but I'm about to die.
Dude, like it was so scary. So it was cool. And I had a show that weekend. I actually had a show that weekend, and the comedy clubs were kind of like debating on whether they should close or not. Like this
Right.
was their thing. We should close or not. But the headliner was John Witherspoon that weekend. Rest in peace. And he showed up. He showed up. Dude, he's an old school comic, man. He showed up. He knew the hurricane was coming. He was in the green. People showed up. And then the last night, like they shut it down and he had to go back. Like, but it was like, man, it was a rough time. It was fun though.
But it's good that people needed to laugh. So
They needed to laugh, but it was so sad afterwards. It was so sad, but it was good while it lasted.
I went to Costco today. Speaking of imminent death, and
I don't want to know what part of that is the imminent death. Just continue.
No, they're all out of rice because people are freaking out about COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
The new coronavirus, which, let me go on my small virologist rant. It is not the coronavirus. There are many coronaviruses. It's COVID-19.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Coronavirus is just a brand.
It's a family.
A family. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
So there's like
kind of like
there's
you can have multiple flus.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, kind of. There's a canine coronavirus that humans can't get. There's a feline coronavirus that humans can't get. There's SARS and MERS. They're all in the same family.
But this particular virus, like it killed the mammals it were in too, didn't it?
It killed. Well, they're not sure what it came from. They suspect that it could have originally come from. The pervading theory is that it's bats.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. As long as we're gonna keep blaming China for this.
It's bats.
Okay.
Bats, and the Chinese government didn't quite tell everyone about it as soon as they could have. I'm not going to start any political wars right now.
She says while wearing a shirt with Bernie Sanders getting arrested
Whoa.
during the civil rights protest on it.
Oh, you're a legend.
YouTube people, you're
You're
in
a
for a treat.
legend.
Yeah.
My dad, fun fact, my dad, I asked him if he wanted a Bernie Sanders shirt too, and he was like, yes. I want to see if I can, essentially like in my dad's very nice way of saying, I want to start some shit at the gym. My dad is in his 60s and he is white and he wants to start some shit at the gym. And I'm like, Dad, I'm going to get you this shirt. Please don't start some shit at the gym.
but you know what? There is one beautiful thing that came out of this coronavirus thing.
What?
Is, I enjoy washing my hands now. Like, I look forward to washing my hands. I have fun doing it. And, it's really increased its importance. Like washing your hands now, you're literally doing your part like to save the world. Like it's like people say, oh, you just wash. It's like, no, like this is like you don't do nothing ever in your life, but this is just the one thing you can do.
Yes.
That helps everybody around you, possibly the world.
See, I was just happy that Corona's half price because people are stupid. Although by the time this episode comes out, it'll probably have recovered. So sorry, people in the future.
But I do respect the coronavirus and COVID-19 what it's doing. It's really killing the game right now, man. So shout out one time. to COVID. Really doing its thing, man. Really doing its thing.
Spreading faster than any other.
Well, I compare it to, I just feel like Corona's just that young college athlete, just really coming out, making a name for itself.
Oh my God.
just graduating to the big leagues, the CDC, the FBI, and the FDA, and it's
and who?
Yeah, I mean the whole federal agency,
and it's part of a family dynasty, right?
Yes.
So
yes, just one in a million.
Yeah.
Like the Wayans, you know. So,
exactly.
So shout out to them. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
Keep it up, Corona.
But also, if it is still a thing, make sure that y'all don't need to go buy masks. It's not going to help unless you're sick, and then you need to wear a mask so you don't spread it to other people.
It's to keep stuff out, not to prevent stuff from getting in.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a beard like me. I'm not shaving.
So should we really be panicking more? Like deep down inside, do we feel like this is going to be okay by the time it gets to us? Should we be panicking?
We should. Okay. Coming from a biology-ish background, people are freaking out more than they should be. Specifically, people like who are in our age group who are healthy, who like don't have leukemia or some other pre-existing condition. It's not going to affect us at all. We should worry about our parents though, because they're in the high risk category. But
the thing is, isn't it true that we can, because we're young, we can carry it but not express any of the symptoms,
like
but
HPV.
But then we hug our parents and boom, they got it.
Exactly. So we shouldn't hug our parents for a little while.
I mean, it's getting to that actually.
I'm kind of worried about that, to be honest. I'm trying to distance myself from.
Just get in an argument with your parents over politics. That'll naturally.
My dad and I have the same political views.
Well, nothing you can do about that. My mom and I were arguing for like weeks leading up to primaries. It's not the point. We should keep going.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, where were we?
Cold Miami night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's.
Oh, by the way, hey Alice.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun, man.
I'm glad you're having fun. It's good.
Just wanted to say that on air.
Yeah.
This is good times.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So, So in the cold Miami night, driving away to their meeting place, the La Bamba Club in Ocean Drive at South Beach. That was where Santa was going to meet them both, and Tony. Mm-hmm. And it was also a place for them to get that well-earned dose of alcohol. Miami PD must be on their way now. You sure the drunk's clean? Inquired Sven, turning the steering wheel into an alleyway, scaring the hobos away. Oh, shit. What oh, shit? Don't tell me you fucked something up as simple as closing the trunk, shouted the pastel suit elf. No, I mean I might have dropped my pen in a drug dealer's body. Sven gave a long sigh. Fuck that, just leave it in there. You can take it out later. No, I mean, Janaea seriously likes that pen, you know? And this is pretty much the only time I get to come to America.
Wait, so he's afraid of, like, what pen? Like,
I'm
like an actual pen? Or,
I think
or is it, like, drugged something?
I think it's a pen maybe that he got for Janaea that's...
Whatever the fuck Janaea is.
Yeah, maybe his girl.
Is it one of those expensive pens? Like one of those...
Maybe an
like
expensive
a fountain pen or something?
Maybe a pen that just says Miami Beach on it.
Right.
I thought he was concerned about DNA evidence for a second. I'm like, you're elves. They're not going to find you. You know?
Well,
yeah.
Apparently they can take it out later, so it's fine. The Crown Victoria stopped suddenly, with Sven brashly pushing Christian by the shoulder. Go and make it quick. The cops will be here any minute. Yes, the roosters will be here any minute. Shuffling over to the back of the car, Christian pegged his nose? I think they mean plugged his nose. But pegged his nose with his fingers and pulled open the trunk. Rummaging quickly through Tony's body, Christian finally felt something thin inside Tony's shirt pocket. Pulling the pen out, the elf suddenly felt the sensation of red, white, and blue lights coming closer behind him. Running for the back seat, Christian jumped frantically in as Sven drove away, trying to shake the pigs. Driving through several alleyways, the Crown Victoria came to a rest inside a derelict car park. Hearing no more sirens in the vicinity, the car was finally on the clear. Guess we lost him, grinned Christian. Lost him? For God's sake, Chris. Are you trying to get us killed? Shouted Sven, throwing behind a glass dome stuck in front of the car. They might have taken down the license plate by now. Hey, relax, Sven. We're almost there. See that sign there? We're already at Ocean Drive, said Christian, peering out the window onto the neon-filled landscape outside. La Bamba Club, 456 Ocean Drive, Miami.
You know what, Chris? I really like the sound of your voice over the silence. It's very calming.
Oh, thank you.
I completely lost track of the story. None of it matters, but it was a very soothing moment for me.
They shook the cops. That's all that happened.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Here, I'll pick up from here. Stopping in the car park of the La Bamba Club and getting out of the sedan, Sven turned around and gave Christian yet another jab across the face, causing him to collapse on the ground. "Fuck you, Christian, you no good piece of shit," said the assailant. "I don't know why Santa even bothers keeping around a small-time dumb chump like you. Asshole!" The taller elf grabbed hold of Sven's left hand, pulling himself up. I can't see how you can even bring joy to kids with you acting like that." "I just packed the goods, Chris, and I'm not even married," rebutted Sven, pressing against Christian's shirt. "I could give a fuck about those little bastards." Real good job, elves. Dragging Tony's body upstairs to the private floor, the two elves were met with the sight of Santa Claus, dressed in a red pastel suit and his signature fluffy cap.
Well done. Well done. Very tasteful.
I know, right? They like, do they dress differently for the weather based on where they are? So like, if they're not in Miami, they'll like, you know, like you go to California, like, you know, Venice Beach, and you're wearing like ripped jeans and a t-shirt.
Right.
Or something.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So like the North Pole would be like coal hats, but then like Miami would be like freaking fedoras or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was enjoying a nice Italian dinner. 2 martinis were placed in front of the 2 vacant seats, of which both elves immediately took up. My elves, I see you have both brought along Tony Montana," bellowed Santa heartily, taking a spoonful of sauce-covered ravioli. "Just give me time here, and he will be up and running in no time. Enjoy your drinks, boys. Oh, and, Christian?" "Yeah, boss," said the Hawaiian shirt elf, sipping the martini.
Something just occurred to me. Are these tiny elves, or are these like human-sized elves?
That is a good question. That's a very good question.
Well, one of them's taller than the other one, but we still don't know how tall they are in relation to everything else.
Yeah.
So,
it did take 2 of them to get a body out.
Yeah, it did. You see, that's the thing. That's the thing. If it did take 2 of them, they're probably half size.
So would it be like, "Yeah, boss"? Instead.
I mean, we can start doing voices. You want me to like do voices for the different elves? Or
Sure. Do you want to be Sven or Christian?
Let's see. I'll be Christian, I guess. I'll keep being Santa too.
Okay.
So you guys are gonna do the voices, right?
Yes.
Okay.
"Quite stupid of you to just run to the trunk of the car in the midst of a police chase," replied Santa heartily, getting grins from Sven. "Can't help it, boss," said Christian, finishing the martini quickly. "The missus wants a gift from America, and I just can't turn that down." "And where is that gift?" Christian made a quick check on his pockets, and he was at a loss of words. The pen was nowhere to be found. Shaking and sweating profusely, he was afraid of what Santa might do next, I assume, due to his lies, and he didn't want to end up on his naughty list.
Or does a fate worse than death?
Receiving the thought, Santa smiled. "Ah, I remember," said Santa jubilantly. "Gianna wants a limited edition Gucci fountain pen, am I right? That's what the pen was for." That's what the pen was for. That's right, Santa," said Christian, turning his head upside down. "Consider it a gift from me, Christian," replied Santa, "for your work today. You'll get it on Christmas Day." Does nobody have anything to say? We're literally like, there's a dead body next to them.
Right.
Santa is just talking with his 2 elves.
But that's the thing. This story's kind of picking up now, and I'm kind of getting invested.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's kind of like, all right, let's see where this goes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Relieved, Christian simply returned to a smile. "Thanks, boss," the elf said, drinking his second shot of
Are
martini.
these elves from Boston? What's going on?
Apparently they are now.
Honestly, I'm kind of flying all over the place. I don't care, but that's you.
Anyway, now that that's all said and done, Sven changed the subject. "How are you gonna revive this body?"
Santa Claus stood up, pointing at the Blade Runner-esque machine resting on the side of the room. It was a large tube with several flashing lights and green text flooding the black screens, with neon filters placed around it for the stylistic effect. That's how you know it's the 80s. Introducing the Revivometer 3000, declared Santa proudly. Albert Einstein always wanted one of these for Christmas. Too bad that winds were bad that year. Who knows what he might have done with it? The two elves gazed at the machine with awe, with Sven finally remembering something.
Hey, boss, if you don't mind me asking, said the shorter elf, I don't think Tony's going to take it lightly when you bring him back to life. I mean, he's fucking crazy, and his best friends are dead, and his sister's dead, and...
I can give him Alejandro Sosa, interrupted Santa.
Alejandro who? Questioned Sven, raising an eyebrow.
The Bolivian fuck who ended his life, replied Santa, smiling a bit. He's been on my naughty list for years, and you know I absolutely abhor those children who stay in my naughty list. Sven and Christian drank up their martinis out of fear. In exchange for Tony's expertise in the snow business, I give him the coordinates for Sosa, and we should be even. You're the boss, said Christian. I think that's it for today, my elves, Santa said calmly, finishing up his ravioli. Both of you need to get some rest. Get up tomorrow for more news, all right? Good night. With that, the two elves quickly raised their seats, returning to their quarters upstairs without saying a word to each other. Santa looked over at Tony's corpse on the ground, wiping the ravioli sauce off his mouth with a napkin. Time for you to get back in business, Montana. And that is the end of the first chapter.
Wow.
So are our main characters
Riveting.
these two elves, or is just like the introduction? Our main character is going to actually be Tony. Is Santa the main character?
I mean, how much time have we got left? 23 minutes. Yeah, we can get into the second chapter. Let's do this shit.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So
So
this ends.
kick it off.
God, this is another new character. So
Yeah.
Bolivia, 1983. Jefe, we got news from the boys back in Miami. Was it Montana or is it Montana?
I think it's Montana. Montana. Yeah.
Montana. See, in all of the clips that I watched, it never said his last name. So
No,
Montana is dead. His name is Nacho? Said Nacho, the cartel enforcer, smiling while circling around the rims of his MP5. So what you gonna do now? Alejandro Sosa, upon hearing the news, began nodding his head and did a half smile, half frown, indicating a gesture of sarcasm mixed with approval. The drug lord took a nearby bottle of rum and poured 2 glasses filled with the brown liqueur before tilting his palm forward like a traffic conductor at the chair in front of him.
sounds like that was a good bottle of Hennessy.
Yeah.
Very the finest bottle.
So
Although it says it's... Yeah.
Mm.
You should sit down, Ignacio.
God, that sound, the like smacking your lips is so like makes my hair stand on end when I listen to it.
In a bad
Like,
way or a good way?
Both.
These mics are just amazing, so they pick up everything.
Yeah, like have you ever listened to Worst Year Ever? It's a podcast. It's just about the 2020 election, but the 3 hosts on it, one of them, they have like this running gag about a time machine where the sound it makes when you use it is like, so and then like another one of the hosts hates that sound, so she's like, no time machine noises, and it's I don't know why I'm advertising a podcast that's more popular than we are.
You know what? That is a sound that should be used more often.
What, just
Very.
I mean, like, we could make this an ASMR channel.
Oh my
no.
The enforcer did what he was told. While Sosa turned his chair towards the gigantic window to face an infinite, massive, endless, picturesque...
Come on, people are trying to listen to this on the train and shit. Say it with your chest.
Bolivian rainforest!
Oh God.
They want the hard stuff.
And mountains. Nacho placed his machine gun on the side of the chair and inspected the finely designed glass. And raised it. There are a lot of run-on sentences in here.
Yeah.
For sure. No punctuations.
And
Yeah.
that is some true bad reading. Roll credits. Yeah.
The drug lord, taking notice of the faint reflection in the glass, did the same. Salud! Which I love that salud is the word that you say in Spanish when somebody sneezes or when you're doing a toast, because it's just like health.
Yeah.
You're throwing health at people.
Health?
Just health. It's not good health. It's just health. Like you're a mage and you're casting like bless on someone.
I assume
Health.
I assume that's the same thing for like with like British people where it's like cheers, right? It's not good cheers, bad cheers. It's just cheers.
Well, at least but like cheer has a connotation of like that it's gonna be happy. I mean, like, do you have bad cheers?
Well, it's weird because personally, I think it should be excuse you because you're gross. Get away from me. That's what I think it should be. But no, why do they say that? Why is there a greeting? Why do people say God bless you?
Well, God bless you because if you die because of your sickness, hopefully you go to heaven. So that one's the God bless you, as far as I know. Gesundheit in German means good health, which makes a little bit more sense than just health, which is the Spanish one.
Shout out to the Germans. Very good healthcare system.
Yeah, agreed.
Very good healthcare.
That's why they can say Gesundheit, because they actually have good health.
They have very good health.
Took a couple decades there to like went through a bit of a goth phase, but I think they came out all right.
They came out all right.
Yeah.
Actually came out one of the top.
Yeah.
Them in Japan.
Yeah.
Very low mortality rates.
And very high happiness.
Very
index.
high happiness. Yeah. What Denmark? Is that like the happiest?
Finland.
Finland
is the
they
happiest.
are happy.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is one of the lowest. I'm not happy. Are you happy?
Generally speaking, no.
happy?
Judging
No.
by,
Yeah.
specifically that I'm wearing a protest T-shirt, I think that speaks to the general amount of happiness I have on a day-to-day basis.
Well, it's just weird. I could tell they're happy because, I see a lot of the tourists that come here in LA, in Australia. They just stay for weeks at a time. I'm like, you guys don't have to go back to work. And they're like, no, this is our vacation days. I'm like, what?
They get like a month of vacation.
That's beautiful. They're just and they're in Los Angeles. They're just so happy, but we all hate them so much.
Because we're jealous.
But
they're making traffic.
But we're not like pissed off enough to like get out and go vote. Seriously, get out, go vote.
Right.
It's important.
Build the wall. Build it.
That took a left turn.
Atlas Novak. Build the wall.
Of votes.
Of votes, yeah. There you go. That works.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Or were we?
That was so perfectly timed.
Why, thank you.
That sound is a great filler space. Let's keep
Fine. Is there a quiet moment?
Ugh. I hope you don't accidentally lick the pop filter.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, for some reason, every time you make that sound, my ears feel wet.
And I'm sure it's the same for you, the listener.
Yes.
So
These are like
enjoy your moist ears.
These are weird things. I'm very fascinated by weird things. Like another thing that's weird too that I like a lot. I like feeding dogs the dog food, and then I like feeling their tongue lick the thing off.
In your hand.
It depends on the dog tongue.
Really? Doesn't matter, man. I like it.
My mom's Labrador, he has a big flat tongue, and I like the feel of that. But she has a dachshund, and the dachshund has a thin tongue, and she licks too much, so it's creepy. I don't like the dachshund's tongue, but I like the Labrador's tongue. Oh, yeah.
I got 2 dogs as well. My older one, who is now 18, when I first rescued her, she used to do this thing where she would lick inside of my nostril whenever I wasn't paying attention. It was the weirdest sense. It felt like, yeah, exactly. It was like that sound, but it was up into my brain. It felt like her tongue could go so far, and I was like,
Why did you let her get that far? That's my question.
It was always a surprise. I was like, I always reacted but she didn't stop doing it for a long. It took her a long time to realize that it made me a little bit uncomfortable. And granted, there were some times when I just gave up, and I was like, this is my life now with the dog tongue in my nose.
Dog saliva is so unique. I've had it up my nose before too, and it's weird because you're blowing your nose, but somehow it's still moving up.
Yep.
It's still so disgusting, and I'm just oh my gosh, anything in there. But I love dogs, so
Bad reading the dog saliva podcast.
I'll let them lick me. It's I love dogs.
My other dog is very polite with his licking. He will like sniff. He'll sniff, like, and then if you don't like move away, he'll just be like ding with a little tiny lick. And then if you still like don't react badly, he'll be like, okay, now I can lick. And he's like he does it incrementally, so he gives you every chance to like say no. It's very
also
polite.
sounds a little bit obnoxious. Like he knows he's better than you guys. You know, like the way you're describing it, like, you know, he knows he's better than you guys.
He's such a sweetie pie. The other one is kind of, she's like, she knows that she's cute and she knows that she's the boss.
Who, Puppy?
But yeah, Puppy.
Yeah.
My 18-year-old dog's name is Puppy.
The ironically named Puppy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a fun story. We'll get into it later about why that's her name. But
where were we?
We were at
Salud, I think was the last thing.
Salud. The drug lord took a sip of rum and the enforcer followed suit. Sure, Antonio Montana is dead. That is definitely a good thing. One less thorn on our side and one less liability for the organization as a whole. Sosa squinted his eyes as he could roughly make out the coke lab not far from his view. Fun fact, making coke is not as dangerous as making meth.
Oh,
Back
fun.
to this story.
Okay.
That is a very true fact.
Yeah.
It's on the FDA.
And yet...
I wrote it there.
But apparently meth is the stuff you need to make meth is a lot more accessible, hence why we have more of a meth problem. At least...
Sudafed and the like, yeah.
Yeah. Some Sudafed.
You've seen Breaking Bad. You saw our Breaking Bad episode.
Yeah.
Meth is, man, very effective.
I don't want to know why that statement came out of your mouth.
If you've ever taken Adderall, you've taken a form of meth.
Yeah.
It's different.
So,
like Adderall doesn't last nearly as long as meth. The half-life for meth is much longer than the half-life.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff in it, like the raw street stuff, than the pharmaceutical stuff.
They actually do have a pharmaceutical type of meth. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a D, and it's actually prescribed for people who have specific illnesses like very treatment-resistant depression.
Do they also use it to like wean people off of it too? I
don't think so. I think that I don't know. I actually don't know what they use to wean people off of meth. I don't think it's one of those drugs that if you stop taking it, you'll die. I think you just have withdrawals that suck.
Well, let's ask our podcast crack addict Atlas. What do you think?
Okay, all of that was wrong. I was gonna say, how great would it have been to have lived in the like late 19th century where all that shit was just legal?
Dude.
Like, I'm gonna go down to the corner store and get some cocaine. Like, just Or I'm gonna go buy a bottle of Coca-Cola which has cocaine in it. You know?
Yeah, dude. This old lady at my church, she has stories about stuff like that. She was like just walking into school in the principal's office and just like my grandmother has stories like this.
Yeah.
Like just walking in the principal's office and just like saying stuff like just cocaine, and no one thought nothing about it. It was just like
someone with a straw. Just
yeah, dude. It was like
you're in very much trouble, young lady.
Yeah, no one thought, and the parents was like, yeah, you're in trouble. Like they agreed with that. So I don't know.
Different world. Oh, it's still very different. Whenever I go down to Peru, you have coca leaf tea that's just available for. It's often given to tourists who have elevation sickness.
Yeah.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
But it's tea, so it's not refined. It's what the old Incans would use and stuff. As again, you can boil it into tea as tea leaves, and they also used to just chew it.
By the way, have you ever had to eat a heart?
Yes. Not a human heart.
Oh, okay.
Kalima. Dot. Had to eat a heart.
Right. I want to know what kind of heart was it?
I've had anticuchos, which is beef heart,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had many, many chicken hearts and also turkey hearts. They taste really good to me.
Really?
Yeah, I really like them. Anticuchos are really good.
And it was cooked. You didn't just rip it out like one bite.
I mean, I wish I had that kind of strength, but no, I did not do it that way.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know you can eat hearts.
Brand new respect for you.
Yeah. You didn't know that.
Didn't know about the heart.
Right.
No.
Right. That's why Atlas had me on here.
Look, I already had a slight fear of you from the karaoke incident, which another day. But just like, wow. This is amazing.
That's rad.
Yeah.
That's really rad.
I actually highly recommend. I mean, I think it's not legal to sell certain organs in the U.S., and I think heart is one of them. As far as like beef goes, you can definitely get chicken, hearts and gizzards, and turkey around Thanksgiving. But beef heart, if you ever get the chance to have like anticuchos that are cooked, they're called anticuchos. Try them. It's really good.
Okay. Anticuchos.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to them one time. And coronavirus.
Yeah. Let's.
So, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Okay. Salute. The drug lord took a sip of rum, and the enforcer followed suit. Sure, Antonio Montana is dead. That is definitely a good thing. One less thorn in our side, and one less liability for the organization as a whole. Sosa squinted his eyes as he could roughly make out the... Oh, fuck, you already read this part.
That's okay.
Yeah. But the ambassador made his speech about the narcotics trade regardless, and now it has gone national. Because of this, the DEA and the FBI are all over my organization, and we are now treading on Schitt's Creek in Miami without the paddle.
Dude, how is that Russian?
I'm doing like a Spanish accent.
It
Is it that
sounds-
bad?
It sounds Russian.
Yeah, it
Fuck.
sounds Russian. I'm like, I think the Cold War is going on right now. I don't think that would have worked.
And as disappointing as it sounds, we may never have the paddle, Ignacio. It's, like, I'm not good at rolling my R's, so that's why that.
Oh, okay.
That's why that sounds more Russian. I'll stop doing it. The enforcer shook his head in agreement. So what do you suggest we do? Because we are facing a growing amount of scrutiny on our operations,
Your Sosa can be Russian.
okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, go back. Go back.
I propose a temporary solution. I'll make some calls to politicians, law enforcement, to try and fan the flames of our situation in the U.S. Meanwhile, you head down to Miami, and I want you to exterminate every single last Montana-associated drug and transport operations until still standing and making money, while establishing more discreet ones in our place. Fuck, I'm hearing it too. This may not be a permanent solution to our problems, but it will at least keep our hands above water.
Okay, just saying from a business standpoint, that's a bad idea when he could just put someone else in charge of all of the already functioning ways of like transporting stuff.
You
the
just get it under new ownership.
Yeah, exactly. Why did it just seems like an unnecessary expenditure of resources when you have all of this in place already.
Yeah, you created a really good hole in this story. This is
Which makes it bad reading.
Yeah, I thought honestly this story was
Not terrible.
No, I thought it would, like, I didn't think it could get any worse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
And
So we hit the floor, but there's like a basement too.
got to the
Yeah.
bottom of the basement.
Yeah.
So for sure. After that, it's the core of the earth.
Consider it done, Jefe. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna cut it off there because if we keep going, I don't think we're gonna get to a good stopping point soon.
You just spoil it. Get to the end.
What, like the very end of the story?
Get to the very end. Just spoil it right now. I can already tell you what everything in between is going to be.
I have to hear this.
No, I can only know that once you read the end.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
Yes.
Trying to see like a good part to pick it up.
Okay, I'll give you the
Okay.
spoiler alert right now.
Okay.
Coronavirus kills everyone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens. No need to read it for yourself.
Oh, there you go. Coronavirus specifically negatively affects elves, especially.
Turns out, yeah. Yeah, turns out they were the ones spreading it, and we killed them all.
Here's the problem. So, it's the end of there's only 2 chapters, and the chapter itself ends on a cliffhanger. I think there's meant to be more story that just isn't here yet.
Well, let's write our
So-
own ending.
Right around it.
Christmas is saved.
But how? We haven't seen him go in the machine yet. We never.
This is like Artemis Fowl. You
Kinda,
remember-
yeah.
Yeah, reading that book.
Isn't that? Aren't they making like a movie of that soon?
They've been saying that for years. I waited. It never came.
Yeah.
And it hurt. It hurt pretty bad.
It was a good book series.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So this was written. It was published March 2nd, 2016. It was updated January 29th, 2018.
Oh, so the person is still probably working on it.
So it
slowly.
stands to reason that there's more of these chapters coming out. I just wanted to end on that part with
Wow.
the see Hetfic, because like there's not really much else that happens in the chapter. You just kind of jump back to Sven and Christian doing their thing.
Right.
So we don't actually get to see the end of this story.
Who's the name of this author again?
The name of the author is Optimistic Nihilist.
Okay, optimistic, man. We're waiting for that last one, man.
There will be a link for the description, and you can leave comments on this. So listeners, if you want to be like, bitch, finish the story,
Get
Yeah.
on this.
you're welcome to go do that
Yeah.
on the brigade of bad reading.
Sure.
And yeah,
Sure. Atlas will have you read it, and you can tell it to us
Mhm.
when we ask
Yeah.
for it.
something like that, or we'll have you back on. Jonas,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Yes,
for coming on
thank
Bad
you
Reading.
for having me. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. This
We're-
was so fun.
Where can people find you out there on the internet?
I feel like I need a Q-tip now.
I need a Q-tip, and I'm sitting right next to you. Ugh.
Oh man. Facebook, Jonas Presendieu. Just send me a friend request. Twitter @BitterBigHead.
We'll put links to that in the description.
Yeah,
too.
please.
Yeah.
Can I plug shows on here?
Yeah, go for it.
sure.
I don't know when this episode will probably come out in a month, so.
Oh really?
Yeah,
In a month?
yeah.
What's happening?
We have other shows on our release schedule before you.
This is fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We have like a cushion, you know,
Oh,
behind the
okay.
scenes. Yeah.
Okay, I know, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing you work, man. This is really,
Yeah.
really dope. This is really, really dope.
So
It's a fun time.
Yeah. Like, I really appreciate you having me. This is a cool concept.
yeah, well, come back anytime. Chris, where can people find you?
My Twitter is actually I actually don't know what my Twitter handle is. Let me find
Seriously?
that.
Those are the two things you should know: your social security number and your Twitter handle.
I know my social security number, so at least I got that down.
Your mother would be ashamed.
I love the idea of like an old person who's like, I can't really remember my
What?
social. My Twitter, on the other hand, is Foxy Grandma 69.
Mine is at stolen_relic, which
Yeah.
fun fact if you can figure out what reference that is.
I still don't know what it is.
You'll figure it out eventually.
Are you gonna share?
We've known each other for
Because you're ink and you have many relics. Come on. Are you gonna show? Are you gonna eventually tell us what it means?
It's just a reference to. It's a reference to a quote from a Marvel movie. That's all I'm gonna give
Ooh,
you for
okay.
now.
Okay.
All right. If you figure it out, tweet at stolen_relic with the answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope you share one day.
Contest. And then you can find me at Atlas Novak on Twitter or Instagram, or you can find this show at Bad Reading Pod on Twitter or Instagram. Do me a favor, leave on your podcast app of choice, or if you're on YouTube, leave a comment or a like or something like that, because it helps people find the show. I have to do like 7 different like specifications on YouTube to find this. If I do bad reading, it sends me to bad lip reading. I do bad reading podcast, a bunch of other podcasts, but not mine. If I do bad reading podcast Atlas, I get like other clips of me, and then I have to do bad reading podcast Atlas Novak to get the thing itself. So just, yeah, lend a show a hand, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I may change my Twitter handle to be something that's closer to my actual name so that everyone can find it more easily. But for the time being,
I mean, I'll link
it's-
it down there. People will be able to find you. And
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick's was at Millennial Comic, so it's
Mine's
yeah.
mine's like what something I made like when Twitter first came out, so it's many years old.
Oh yeah.
So
That's what
I
it
mean, I mean to interrupt, but Atlas, how do you think Chris did today? What's
You
your
did great.
yeah? What's
Yeah.
your assessment?
Okay. I think that's a good thing to end it on. Good night, everybody.